Oh,
That's fine.
it wants the light.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. Is that bothering you?
Okay.
What is your daily preference?
Chuckles.
Okay.
Some people are a little weird about saying it's Chuck or Charles, but
Okay. No, I just want to be correct. I just want to be making. I want to use your correct.
I just do lemon juice with shaking soda.
What did I say?
So Miracle Alien cookies too?
What?
Miracle Alien cookies too?
It is. It's actually a crossback.
Ghislaine,
So yes.
can I introduce you to Claire, our manager?
Hi, Ghislaine. Nice to meet you.
She is like the,
I'm a certified Ganjier.
and she's running the, or kind of on the board of the
2 days later,
Minnesota Craft Cannabis Guild.
he saw her get on this building.
Awesome.
And I'm Vinny.
Vinny, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Well, welcome. We're gonna be very casual.
You guys
Please
take a seat.
And
We tested no microbials. That's all that really matters.
so, hi. My name is Ghislaine Ball. Yes, please take a seat. We're here with the Minnesota Craft Cannabis Guild in Steady Pour, and I am a certified Ganjier, and I am also on the board of the Minnesota Craft Cannabis Guild. Today we have with us Chuckles Olson, Chuckles.
Yep, hey.
And please introduce yourself.
Yep, I'm the World Cosby Chuckles, and I'm a certified Ganjier as well, and I also own a business where I do mobile testing lab, and I'll come test your your cured cannabis, or I can even test plants that are growing, doing a plant tissue analysis to see if you're running short or running hot on certain nutrients. And so this machine's really cool, and I've been just getting going with the business, but it's going really well, and people are happy with the results. So I'm going to do this for the rest of my days, I believe. Mhm.
What's the name of your business? You didn't say.
It is Canaturp Analytics. Yes, sir.
So I'm a certified Ganjier. Chuckles is a certified Ganjier, and Mr. Joe Bunnell, aka Papa J, is also a certified Ganjier. And I'm super happy that Papa J and Chuckles are here with us to talk about cannabis and connoisseurship. Connoisseurship. We're very familiar with connoisseurship as it relates to wine and to cigars, and now even to beer. When I was growing up, beer came in light and dark, and then the laws changed, and folks who had been growing beer or who had been brewing beer in their basements kind of came out of the woodwork, and the folks who had been celebrating that artistry that is craft beer were able to share their artistry with their neighbors and with their state, and then through interstate commerce and so on. And now we can enjoy beers like Foster's from Australia and the triple. I don't know that. I'm pulling that out of my ear. I'm sure it's. But Guinness, I mean, you understand the references of international beer, and even different states. Sam Adams, Fat Tire from Colorado, and then our local favorites. We have Surly, we have Fulton, we have Indeed, and lots of new ones popping up all over the place. And even neighborhoods. By Canajoy, you have Town Hall Town Hall, and that's been around for 20 years. So that's the and with that model in mind, cannabis is also not light and dark. It's not indica and sativa. Cannabis is not binary either. It's a huge spectrum of flavors and aromas and experiences, and it's also a language. So, and I propose the language that we use is terpenes, and I'm going to get to that in a second. And that's actually why one of the reasons that Chuckles is here. Mm-hmm. And I'm super stoked that both Chuckles and Joe. So Joe, Chuckles, and I are all certified Ganjier, and what What that means is that one of the things that it means is that we have a shared language that we use to analyze and communicate with each other about a specific craft flower. So we all have our individual experiences, but the three of us have been trained into a specific language so that we can communicate our experiences to each other. And the fact that we're certified means that we have been tested in person and passed an exam where we individually analyzed a flower and came within 2 points of a council. So we're not just trained into all of the different things that are involved with being a ganjier, but we have demonstrated active knowledge to the point that we are calibrated within 2 points of each other. So no matter who you're talking to, if they're certified in the world, because certified ganjier are all over the world.
It's like 461 in the world, I believe.
There are 461 of us.
Yeah.
And the highest concentration of us outside of the state of California is
Minnesota?
here in Minnesota. There are actually kind of a lot of us here in Minnesota. So we're here today to talk about a locally grown flower. The flower is Miracle Mac 2. It was grown locally in, let's just say, North St. Paul, but it was in ground, full sun, full season. Okay, the seed is from Michigan Marijuana Seeds. We were not able to do a COA. I just did a mechanical analysis to determine whether or not it was contaminated with mold, i.e., I smelled it. I did not identify any mold at all, and honestly, mold makes me ick, so I'm pretty good at sniffing it out. And I actually have a running, let's call it lively debate, going with Jude Croyle, who's one of the other. He's also a certified Ganjier, and he's also one of the on the board of the Minnesota Cannabis Guild. The Guild. He says that that's actually a phenol. And I think it's a mold. There's this distinct smell, and I say it's a bug, he says it's a feature. So we're still in discussion about that.
So this one has none of that.
This one has none of that. This one has none of that.
Let's smoke it.
So what we're going to do today is we're actually going to talk a lot about aroma and flavor. We're going to do, actually, let me take that back. We're going to do a couple of different things. First, we're going to talk about aroma and flavor, and then we're also going to grab, we have our own joints cones that I stuffed earlier. And then we're going to do it. Does anybody here know what a dry hit is? Okay. And so we have a lot of people who are new to dry hits. That is very cool. Okay. Dry hit is, it's a great way to taste the cannabis flower. So we're going to be interacting with the cannabis flower tonight in a couple of different ways. The first one is we're going to be smelling the whole flower in a jar, and I have 2 jars with whole flower that are going to be coming around. Right behind them, we're going to be having a jar of ground flower. Okay, and then behind that we'll have a jar. Just come on in. This is casual. And then behind that, we're going to be passing out some pieces of dried apricot, a little joint, and then some high voltage. Where's Robert?
He was outside right now.
Would you go grab Robert? Just get like a 4-pack of high voltage from Brian.
Is that Fulton or
Pardon?
high voltage?
Yeah, the beverage. So, okay, so, you know what? So let's start so what I'd like for you to do, you know what? We do need to talk a little bit you need to know what you're looking for before I pass these out. So you're about to get into your hands a couple of different jars and vials, and then you're also going to get some dried apricot, and you're going to get a bag with a little joint in it. And I want you to, actually, let's pass these out first. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to reach in and just take a couple of pieces of dried apricot and one of those joints, and then pass it to the next person. And everybody hold on to them and don't eat them. And definitely don't light them on fire, because we can't do that indoors. But we are going to do a dry hit. We're gonna taste it in a different way. Would you just want to pass these down? Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
Anybody else out there?
I think the action.
Oh, I got him.
Oh, got one ready. Yep.
All right. Does everybody have some apricot?
Here's that.
You more need the drink.
A drink. Okay. Who needs a drink?
Apricots back here.
And joints.
And joints and drinks.
The apricot is not rounds.
Okie doke. So I want to talk about the flour that is, once everybody's got their things, we'll just, okay, great. So the Miracle Mac 2, it is a strain from Michigan, marijuana seeds. It is a cross between Drunken Gorilla and Mac 1. Mac 1 stands for Miracle Alien Cookies. It is not actually the version Mac V2, and it is also not Colombian crossed with Starfighter. In the jar, and so now what I want we're going to start passing around 2 jars. In the first jar, you're going to see whole flour, and then in the second jar, it's ground flour. What I want you to do is open the whole flour first, the jar with whole flour in it first, and I want you to smell it. I want you to, very, very high level, what you're looking for is it earthy? Is it citrusy? Is it floral? Is it woodsy? Which one of those categories does it really fall into for you? Like, how would you? And it can be multiple of those things. It can also be sweet.
Another thing that is a good practice is keep your jars the same distance away when you open them to start. And then if you smell it right now, you know, whoa,
That's intense.
but now as you bring it in a little bit, see how far away before you start. Like I'm smelling it now, as opposed to sometimes you will smell it out there. And now we'll be opening it a bunch, so it's kind of losing some of that. But when you got jars at home or whatever, it's a good way to indicate like the levels of what is in there.
Yeah, and what Joe just is talking about is one of the tenets of quality. So as we're moving into adult use and legalized cannabis, we're coming out of 90 years of prohibition, and honestly, in that time, if you got your hands on a Budweiser, I think that's great. And I love a Budweiser. I will never shame somebody for drinking a Bud. But man, do I like my Lift Bridges and my Indeeds and my Surleys And that's really what we're talking about here is we're talking about the artistry and the tenets of quality. And one of those tenets of quality is how potent and powerful the aroma is. And what we talk about is that jar pop. Okay? So as you're going around, and there are actually 2 jars. Oh, did you? Okay, so you guys have the jars of whole flour. Okay, coming right behind it is the jar of ground flour. So really smell that the whole flour. When I did a tasting myself earlier, I found it very earthy, very with a red rubber ball nose component to it. So, do you remember the red rubber balls, dodgeballs, when in middle school? So that, and then also dried apricot. So it's not really on the front end, but the dried apricot is more, it's more on the back end. It's more of a secondary or tertiary note.
Just a little citrus to it at the end there. Yep.
So I'm sorry I'm putting you guys on the spot, but would you like to share what you were smelling?
Yep, and I was actually just running it on our.
Oh, you were running a sap on it?
Yeah, which is just kind of what she was talking about earlier is the language that we all kind of agree to. It's called the SAP, Systematic Assessment Protocol, where we assess weed, cannabis, or any form of it really, and they ask us certain questions like what's the intensity of the jar pop, and then the prevalent aromas is what we're talking about now. And there's 5 categories, which would be floral, fuel, sweet, earth, or fruit. And we both agreed actually that it's more of an earthy right away, and then kind of just a little sweet fruitness at the end there, a little citrus on the end there. So.
And some would call that red rubber ball a fuel note.
A little fuel.
So, because Joe was nodding when I was saying red rubber ball.
Yeah.
A little gas to it.
And it's also where the skunk smell falls into too under this. So
Yeah.
maybe a
So
little of that.
as you guys are smelling it, maybe that's just that we all 3 had pretty similar experiences. Used slightly different language to describe it because that's based on our personal man, did I spent a lot of time with those dodgeballs. So that was very immediately whoa, that was right there. But yeah, so that's kind of Ganjier, or one of the tricks that we do. And then the ground flour as it's going around, if you still have it, if you haven't gotten to it yet, I want you to actually go ahead. It's fine to do this here. I want you to go in and I want you to pick it up with your fingers. What you're going to get, and I want you to think to yourself, keep the idea of kinetic sand. Did you ever play with kinetic sand when you were a little kid? So as you're playing with the ground flour, it's one of the, and this is another tenet of quality. It has the texture of that kinetic sand. So look for that in the ground flour. When I was smelling that, the nose was very different between the whole flour and the ground flour. Mm-hmm. The ground flour I found to be brighter, but I got a lot more shellac or varnish. But then there was also presentations of cherries, and that apricot came back. So again, the tenet of quality. The aromas are carrying through the different touch points of flour, but they're also changing. So that's what we call layering. Complexity.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, let's please go ahead and look for those things as you're feeling, and go ahead and please touch the flour, squeeze the flour.
I would do very much, but
I think that's more like some
This is your opportunity.
It's got a little bit of that
So
chlorophyll.
play with it. Because we're not going to get open jars in the dispensaries. So play with it now.
Sweet, yeah, definitely fruit.
And then for everybody who took a joint, what I'd like for you to do is kind of like
I covered a lot, actually. I
kind
know.
of like
So,
a cigar
that's a
when you're
Yeah.
smoking a beautifully crafted cigar.
How's it?
What we would do is we pinch off the tip of our joint. Everybody, please do that. What I'd like and what you're going to do now is you're going to put the joint in your mouth, unlit, and take a drag through it, like you're pulling on it, like you're pulling on your joint, if it's lit. And this is what we call a dry hit. And this is a third layer of tasting. So now we're not just tasting this is where we're converting the aroma into flavor. So, and both of those things are starting to happen now. We are experiencing a more intense
More than I smell.
interaction with the craft cannabis. And on this dry hit,
Cream.
I found it very herbaceous. The shellac was there, but then I was also getting hints of star anise, cherry, and then some lemongrass presented itself to me. So, gentlemen,
I'm tasting more fuel like the shellac than
Yeah, it's got a gas
than
heat.
the actual aroma, which is kind of strange, but
Yeah, that came out.
yeah. So the dry hit is really quite different from both the flower and the whole flower and the ground flower. Again, that layering,
Many layers.
it's quite layered.
Yeah.
I'm also tasting cream, like a cherry cream or something like that.
Like a sweet cream.
Are you getting
almost.
it on the inhale and the exhale, or like I don't get
More just-
anything on the inhale, on the exhale. I get
Would
like-
anybody like to share some of the flavors that they're getting from their dry hit? Joe, you've been
Definitely
playing with dry hits a minute.
As I take it in,
Cherry and spice.
I'm
Got a spice.
Cool.
creamy
Yeah, I was getting some. So now what I want you to do is
and
put the apricot, the piece of dried apricot in your mouth and chew it. So if you please, if
now
you
I'm
want.
turning into it more.
I
tried it.
And then do your dry hit again.
To me, it's almost like a peaches and cream.
With the
That's later, Bob.
With the,
Oh, actually,
that's the chaser.
yeah. You know what? You can. Yeah, that's.
It's back. These are good. Thank you.
And then go ahead. So yeah, do that. And so did you get more apricot out of it? Did it
I
really?
get a lot on the exhale. Oh, I haven't taken the second after eating it, but it really.
And also, if the jars are still in front of you, put the apricot, smell the apricot next to the jars. So it's a trigger for your nose, so you can a prompt, so you can pick up. And then lastly, go ahead and take a sip of the high voltage. And what I paired that with is there's Szechuan pepper in the smoke of this. So when you go outside and you light this up and you're smoking it, there is really very distinct Szechuan pepper that goes beautifully with the Szechuan pepper in this beverage. What's nice about it is that you can do a dry hit and then take a sip of this and then smack your tongue against the roof of your mouth, and it'll bring out some of the cherries. Some of the cherry in this will bring out some of the cherries in this. So take a sip.
Oh yeah, changes the whole profile.
sure does. I did taste cherry.
No, that's
before,
a good, very good pairing.
but when I put that, I lost the cherry. So.
So yeah, that's now Chuckles here while we have been talking,
Oh, I should get it ready.
Chuckles has been doing a testing of this flower that we all have in our hands.
Yeah.
And what he's going to be testing for are the different cannabinoids that are present in the flower, and then he's also going to be testing for the terpenes. So this, I have my suspicions, but we're going to get confirmation right now which terpenes are dominant in this flower. And that those terpenes are what I argue is a classification system. Kind of like for craft beer, we have port, stout, IPA, pilsner, Bock, lager, lots of different and they flow into each other. Like fermentation is like this three-dimensional amorphous cloud of subjective experience, and cannabis is even more so because you have to layer in experience with that. But one of the ways that we can start putting a framework for conversation around it is through terpenes, because humans have been interacting with cannabis since we were Homo erectus. So we have endocannabinoid systems that we developed in tandem to work with cannabinoids. Now our bodies primarily make their own endocannabinoids. It means that they're made within the body, but they need omega-3 spectrums, omega-3 fatty acids, in order to successfully produce those chemicals within our body. We are in generational deficit of these omega spectrums of fatty acids. Our bodies need cannabinoids to function properly. So eat a lot of fatty acids, please. Eat all of them. Eat the spectrum. And if you can't, please smoke craft cannabis, because that is basically a supplement for your body. Those cannabinoids help your body function better. So what we're getting here, so the classification system, fast forward, terpenes. We as humans have been interacting with cannabis for tens of thousands of years, and we love it so much we have crafted the plant to be, out of 2,000 terpenes that exist 200,000 terpenes that exist in the world, everything that smells is made up of terpenes. Terpenes are to smell what color is to sight, right? Long story short, and I am really rambling on, I have just gone down that garden path. 95% of all cannabis grown and sold in the United States falls into one of 6 superclasses of terpenes. Joe, you wanted to say something?
I was gonna say most plants have 4 terpenes. Cannabis has 150, and it's the only plant that you can basically manipulate to some degree what it gets. It's almost like it was designed to be great for you. Spot on. And the other part that's kind of interesting, we'll find out too, the percentage of terpenes in it, it's gonna be a lot smaller than you think. I think the highest you tested is 3%.
Yeah, 2.9
that I've tested. And people will talk about all this craziness with the THC levels and everything. But if you have a THC level with a high terp, and then you might have another cannabinoid in there, like a CBG or a CBD, that percentages of all that stuff combined doesn't really matter. It's the combination of all of them together. You're gonna get such a different feeling out of that than your run-of-the-mill stuff. And that's what makes it up into the higher level of craft cannabis, where people are attempting to manipulate the terpenes and also buying genetics with multiple cannabinoids in them if you get any genetics to grow or anything that has CBG and CBD in it with THC, you'll like it a lot better.
That's medicine.
It basically puts all the dance partners and all your endocannabinoid system together, and that's how it works, really. Also, why you get hungry is from that.
Yep.
And then almost any effect essentially comes through all the terpenes. And really, the THC is more just there to get you high, but your good feelings of the high are all from the terpenes.
Yeah, like the THC is more like the horsepower,
Yep.
but the terpenes are the map of where you're going.
So, yeah, is that ready?
It is actually. So just real quick, I had to prepare a sample, which I had to grind it down to the finest I could get it through, and then run it even through a sifter, so everything's the same consistency. That helps this near infrared spectrometer have the best results, most accurate results. If it's more chunkier pieces than other, then what this thing does is shoots light into the cannabis, and it measures the spectrum of the light, how it reacts, and there's a little bit of heat involved as well, so it's kind of like laser. If you have different size, little chunks of bud, it's gonna kind of refract a different way, so it needs to all be consistent, uniform. So I did all that, get everything all prepared, and then set this little weight on there so it keeps everything in place. And it takes about a minute for it to run all of its tests. And then for our results, we got total terpenes of 1.71, which is pretty high. And, average is right around 1 is what I've been seeing from my tests. We didn't run any CBD in this one, 0%. THC, we were at 20.47%, which is, that's very good, yeah. I'd smoke some of that. And our CBG total, it comes in at 0.5%, which is right where we want it, really. CBG kind of tells you where you harvested. If you harvest it early, your CBG is going to be kind of high, because CBG eventually converts to THCA, which then it converts to THC through the curing process. So right, 0.4, 0.5 is right where you want to be. And then for moisture, we're at 12.3%, which is a good moisture. It's a little lower than what I'm used to seeing, but that's how I prefer to smoke it myself. And then active water is where you're going to find possibility for mold and other contaminants to grow in there. So this is at 0.44, which is perfect. Anything in the 0.4 range to 0.6 range is perfect. A little bit lower, you're going to say that's dry, and then anything higher is, you can find some molds in there. It could still grow mold after, from this point on too. So, but we're not going to find any of that in there. And then with our 1.1 or 1.71% terpenes, this machine also gives us a terpene profile, and it doesn't do all the major terpenes, but it does limonene, linalool, beta-myrcene, pinene, beta-carotene, elamine, alpha-humulene, udesma, pinene, and terpinolene. And on this one, we got limonene and linalool as our top ones, and then a beta-myrcene is coming right under that, and then alpha-pinene is about half of what limonene and linalool would have been. It doesn't give us an exact percentage of the terpenes, because there's so many other terpenes that this doesn't test for. So for it to say it's like exactly 0.1% limonene or anything like that, it just gives us more of a profile. But it definitely tells you, if you're on track to what you want it to be. So yeah, I'm really happy with these results. And
Also, it registered 4 different ones. That's pretty good. Usually it's only 3.
Yep, 2 or 3. So
Sometimes only 2, and usually it's myrcene heavy, myrcene heavy, myrcene heavy.
Yeah.
Everything is myrcene heavy.
It's, yeah.
I was expecting terephthalate actually on that one, because I was getting a lot of pepper.
yeah.
I was super expected. I was totally so.
So there's alpha carotene and beta carotene, which the alpha is the one that I wish did test for, because that's the one that gives you that more peppery.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's in there, but this one only tests for beta.
Got it. So actually, well, I'm going to pull out caryophyllene anyway. So we know for a fact, because we just tested it, that myrcene, linalool, what is it first? Limonene first?
Limonene and linalool, yep, they're about the same.
So let's just say, so now if you've got the jar, what I want you to do is open up both of these. This is limonene and linalool. Again, it's a language. This is just what this is what we have decided that this smell is what it smells like. This is a name. It's kind of like blue. It's just we know what it's a spectrum as well. Like there's no one blue. But this is, so I'm going to pass around the jars, limonene and linalool. And unfortunately, I only have one of the linalool, but I've got, but smell them. So it's going to take a minute to make it around. But smell them together and smell the flower at the same time. Like smell these two jars at the same time. And then look for these two smells in this jar. And also you could take a dry hit and see if you can taste them.
I like that idea, Bob.
Yeah.
Get the more.
So,
More
and then we
palate
also,
involved.
and I'll pass these around.
So they're pretty intense.
This is the myrcene and the pinene. So please feel free to
Jar.
smell those.
Right away.
We'll just pass these around individually so everybody
Definitely
can.
gonna
So
be
they
right in
can.
line with that.
So yes, smell the terpene that's in the vial, and then look for that. Do the dry hit and look for the aroma to translate to flavor, as it translates to flavor.
One other thing I'll say about terpenes that myrcene is just everywhere. If you ever feel like every bag's the same, like no matter where you get it, whatever, that's going to be your main terp profile on all those every time. And it usually leads to a sedative effect. Maybe not for everybody, but so
Lock vibe, for
yeah.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, like so the effects are like most people, but it comes back to your physiology.
It's quite different for other people.
Yeah, and you can be kind of closer. It's a scatter plot, and you can be closer to the middle, or you can be closer to the outside, or you could even have a paradoxical experience. So if you're one of those people, and this is true of all plant medicine, and one of the ways to, if you're one of those people that coffee puts you to sleep, you have a paradoxical reaction to plant medicine. And that is an indicator. If you have a paradoxical reaction to one, you are more likely to have a paradoxical reaction to another. So that is one of the many, many reasons we really wanted to know what we're smoking. And we want to know how that flower is going to make us feel before we smoke it. And our nose can tell us that. We can, if we know what we're looking for. So of course I didn't pack any. I have a cheat sheet, which I forgot, but off the top of my head, myrcene, as Joe mentioned, it's physically sedative, and that works for smoking. If you're consuming cannabis as medicine, I experience myrcene dominant strains as being physically sedative, and that is a common reaction. The other big one is caryophyllene, and I really smell a lot of caryophyllene. But as we talked about with Chuckles, it's probably beta. This is beta caryophyllene. Did I pass caryophyllene around? That's the pepper, and caryophyllene is mentally sedative. So I say it's for folks who it stops racing brain, and for me I say it stops the screaming squirrels. But. And then the other big one is limonene, and that is going to be more active and more energizing, kind of like why a lot of, in the same way that a lot of our cleaners smell like lemon and citrus. The citrus it just smells brighter and it smells zippier. But for me, actually, limonene is more of a frenetic, up, and I don't use the words indica or sativa because it is not binary. there are different kinds of ups and there are different kinds of sedative effects. So we know what they are, and they're based on the dominant terpene. So caryophyllene tends to slow a racing brain. Pinene is an up, but for me, it's more of a kind of a.
Here's Mercy.
It's more of a like a daily. It's not an up. It's more of a like let's get stuff done, but not like oh I gotta get stuff done. Yeah, the limonene gives me a little anxiety. I'm not like the hugest fan of it. Yeah, you too. Yeah. So I tend to avoid flowers. If I'm smoking at night, I'm actively avoiding that limonene. I'm looking for a straight up myrcene caryophyllene. Mm-hmm. And frankly, for me, with the more caryophyllene, the better. And then terpinolene, that's another one. That's not in this strain, but that's the common thread between Jack Herrera. You just grew some beautiful terpinolines, but they didn't present, so that's a whole other discussion why we're not going to talk about that. But that's cool stuff. Yeah, that's phenodrift, and that's like a whole other. We're not in terroir. Like, let's not go there today. So yeah, does anybody have any questions? Do you have any thoughts? Do you have any? Anybody want to share what they're experiencing with the vials of terpenes and the jar of flour and the jar of ground flour and the dry hit?
I'll say keeping the jars, the vials further from your nose, it makes it match a bit more. When they were up close, it was almost like, oh, okay. Yeah, I had to like take a couple fresh breaths in between. But with the vials here and, vials here, sniff, and then flour here, sniff, I started to really see the parallels there, or smell the parallels.
And did you get a chance to use the individual terpene vials?
Yeah. Yep.
And were you able to smell the individual terpenes in the flour?
Hard to say, but when they were together next to each other, that's where you really got it. I smelled it a little bit more. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you.
First experience matching that together, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Eventually, you can just smell it and kind of know what's in there and know the ones you like. It's
Right.
really, really nice to be able to pick them out like that.
Yeah, I ignored from the smell and pick it up.
Does anybody have any
Very
questions?
interesting.
Okay, well, thanks for coming, and we're gonna hang out. And you guys have anything you want to share?
The only other thing I was going to say was I have a graph from our studies where they told people it was a hybrid sativa and all that, and it's kind of hard to see from here, but this was their results because they were told it basically. And then you go to the one where they weren't told and they just did their experiences on their own. It's quite a bit of difference.
Totally different.
So the whole sativa indica hybrid, like that's more placebo in your brain than anything. Yeah. And yeah.
How most people buy it nowadays.
Right.
Yep. So we're here to educate them.
Well, at least we don't
There's a
just
lot
say
more to
weed
it.
anymore. We've
That's
moved
true.
on from singular to binary.
I do say that, sorry.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, there's more.
We're learning more every day.
We're learning. There's a whole other. There are actually a few other layers, but let's just talk about the 6 super classes.
Yeah.
Let's start there. And yeah, it's like finding out that there's IPA, and it really like most cannabis, like most of the popular brands are some version. I call it the IPA of weed. It's myrcene, what Joe was saying earlier, myrcene, then caryophyllene and limonene. It's those 3. I would argue that like 85% of commercially available cannabis falls into like those 3.
Probably even higher.
Probably even, yeah.
You have to get like small batch craft cannabis to get out of it, really.
Yes.
And in a big scale anyway.
Yeah. But that's also where the medicine is.
Right?
And the medicine is also not just in the terpenes, but in the ratios. And yeah, so like 1-to-1s. Like you don't necessarily, your body doesn't necessarily want the highest THC. It might want equal amounts THC, CBD, or even more CBD. Like that could be the one that gets you very, that really makes your body sing. So explore those, because that's where a lot of the medicine is, especially for chronic ailments. And it's just figuring out what works for you. It's a wide spectrum, and you've got to do your own. You got to explore it yourself
Makes me think
for
of,
yourself.
Human anatomy testing in the, like our genetic predisposition to strains, because everybody knows somebody who they won't smoke because they had this experience with